This is Fred Wahl, the VisaCoach. Today's topic is President Trump 2025, Extreme Vetting and Muslim Ban. On the day that President Trump was sworn in as 47th president, he signed 25 executive orders. While he addressed many agenda items, including de-weaponizing the Justice Department and reducing government waste, he also signed Executive Order 14161, called Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats, which will affect marriage-based immigration clients like I serve. Those who are hoping to bring their and sponsor their fiancés and spouses to immigrate to the USA. And I am Fred Wahl, the VisaCoach. I personally work with you, preparing for you the forms and documents needed to bring your loved ones home to the USA. And unlike those common second-rate services that abandon you once your application has been submitted, well, I remain with you, providing support throughout this complicated immigration journey. Now, let's talk about President Trump's executive order on extreme vetting and the Muslim ban. On President Trump's first day in office, January 20th, 2025, he signed Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats. During his previous term, President Trump had issued executive orders commanding U.S. immigration to ban nationals of certain countries from being allowed visas to the USA. This was the so-called Muslim ban at that time, and to conduct a thorough review of the eligibility and backgrounds of any aliens applying to enter the USA. This is called the so-called extreme vetting. Now, when President Biden was sworn in, on his first day in office, he rescinded those orders. But now, on day one of President Trump's new term, extreme vetting is back. And a ban on some foreign nationals is under review by the State Department and may be implemented soon, perhaps within days of this video. The first section of the executive order instructs U.S. immigration to take action in identifying countries throughout the world for which vetting and screening information is so deficient as to warrant a partial or full suspension on the admissions of nationals from those countries. Under the previous Trump administration, the following countries were affected by this: Eritrea, Iran, Kyrgyzstan, Libya, Myanmar, Nigeria, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, Venezuela, government officials only, and Yemen. The State Department has been asked by this executive order to identify which countries should be fully or partially banned and report this back to President Trump. The U.S. State Department has not officially released its recommendations yet. However, a draft of the memo that is being prepared has been leaked. The memo lists a total of 41 countries divided into three separate groups. There's the red list of countries that are recommended for full visa suspension. There's the orange list. These are countries that are recommended for partial suspension. And finally, there's the yellow list, countries recommended for partial suspension if their governments, well, do not play ball, do not make efforts to address deficiencies within 60 days. Now, the countries on the red list facing full visa suspension are Afghanistan, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. The countries on the orange list that are now facing partial visa suspension are Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, South Sudan. And finally, the countries on the yellow list, which are facing partial suspension, but only if their governments do not, play ball, do not address these deficiencies, are Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Belarus, Benin, Bhutan, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, Cambodia, Cameroon, Chad, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mauritania, Pakistan, Republic of the Congo, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Sao Tome and Principe, Sierra Leone, East Timor, Turkmenistan, and Vanuatu. Sorry. It's unclear yet exactly what partial suspension of visa issuance means. It might mean only non-immigrant visas, such as visitor and student visas, and may or may not affect fiancé or spouse visas that actually lead to real immigration. It's also unclear whether aliens who have already been issued visas will be affected, whether or not those with valid visas will lose permission to enter the USA, or if already here, will be required to leave. The State Department memo has yet to be approved by the administration. It hasn't even been approved by the U.S. Secretary of State. People are working for him, Marco Rubio. Now, changes and amendments and the fleshing out of details are underway. And, well, for what finally will be the new executive order, we shall have to wait and see. Now, in addition to assigning the State Department their homework to make banning recommendations, there are two other sections of the executive order that, well, have already taken effect and have begun to affect visa applications that are already in process. Now, this is the renewal of, quote, extreme vetting, okay? The U.S. State Department has been ordered to, well, Section 3, reestablish a uniform baseline for screening and vetting standards and procedures consistent with the uniform baseline that existed on January 19, 2021. That's when Trump was in office before. That will be used for any alien seeking a visa or immigration benefit of any kind. And Section 4, to vet and screen to the maximum degree possible all aliens who intend to be admitted, enter, or are already inside the United States, particularly those aliens coming from regions or nations with identified security risks. Now, January 19, 2021 is noteworthy as it was the last day of President Trump's first office. That was the last day his previous order for extreme vetting was in effect until the following day when President Biden took office and immediately rescinded the order. Okay, they're going back and forth. Now, how extreme vetting worked before, because we don't know exactly how it's going to work this time, was that visa applicants and travelers were subjected to a range of invasive measures, such as requiring applicants to, well, number one, hand over their phones so that the contact lists and photos could be examined by embassy and consular staff. 2, to share their social media handles and passwords so that both private and public posts could be viewed. number 3, to disclose their previous 15 years worth of travel history, employment history, and addresses. Currently, it's like 5 years now. And finally, pass an ideological test on their view of society, culture, and USA. And from President Trump's speech in 2023, we get an idea. If you emphasize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists, you're disqualified. If you want to abolish the state of Israel, you're disqualified. If you support Hamas or the ideology behind Hamas, you're disqualified. And if you're a communist, Marxist, or fascist, you are disqualified. So what is going to happen? Well, the visa banning, if it affects the country you and the visa you are applying for, will put your case immediately on hold. And that hold might last as long as President Trump's current term of office lasts, maybe 4 years. I just talked to a guy from Iran. He's very unhappy. Extreme vetting, expect the application process for all immigration to the USA to get more complicated. The reviewers at USCIS and the State Department already have started to add more issues to review and need to make more determinations about. The overall process will slow, and we can expect eligibility requirements to be tightened, that additional and new disclosures and documentation and evidences to be required. Now, during processing, also expect each reviewing officer to nitpick your case. As happened during the last Trump administration, many more RFEs, which are requests for evidences that normally USCIS would have considered frivolous and not wasted time with, will now be regularly issued. This is going to cause more work for all concerned and more delays. Now, while extreme vetting affects everyone, adding months of delays, having your partner's country banned, sadly, may add years to your case. This was Fred Wahl, the Visa Coach, and I'm here to personally guide you on this journey. Now, please like or add your comments to this video. Click here to sign up for our monthly newsletter and receive bonus ebooks. Here for YouTube's recommendations. Here for the playlist of recent videos on marriage-based immigration. And here to subscribe to our channel.